In this demonstration, I'll show you how to use the Trimline feature within Omega. Once you click on Trimlines, they will automatically appear on the model. Basically, by grabbing each of these circles, you can apply whatever type of trim lines you like. So if you like square trim lines, you simply pull the circle down and apply a square trim line. By using the symmetrical feature within Omega, it will make these trim lines symmetrical. So if you want them round, it will make it round on both sides. I personally don't like the symmetrical option, so I unclick that. So what I would recommend is start on the posterior aspect of the model. I'm going to go to the upper right hand side and orient it to the posterior side. And start with the posterior trim lines of the model. These are my markers. They are not part of the Trimline feature. And pull these to match the trim lines that you've created on the posterior aspect of your model. And then spin around to either medial or lateral sides of your trim lines. Once you've done the posterior aspect, then go to the medial aspect. Again, everybody has their own methodology to using trim lines. What I like to do is finish the posterior aspect, go to the anterior side, split the patella in half, and then go half again using the patella, and then spread this to either side, and then do either medial or lateral sides. And I like rounder trim lines. Pull this down a little bit. And just make sure that they match. You can go back and just double check. So that looks pretty good. The reality is the carver doesn't recognize trim lines. It will recognize a ridge. We have a feature here that you can put a ridge into your model, and the carver will carve this ridge into your model. And that makes it useful when pulling your plastic check socket. So if you, again, use this bar, pull left to right, and you can put this big ridge into your socket so that you'll know where your trim lines are. Now, I wouldn't go quite this high, but it is helpful. You can put a small ridge in there and you'll know where to trim off your socket. So that is a useful feature, but you can't draw trim lines on your socket, but this ridge feature is helpful so that you'll know where your trim lines are when pulling your socket. So this is a useful feature from a carving perspective. But this is the Trimline feature. Something nice to work with and practice with. Back to anterior. If you want to eliminate the ridge, just zero it back out. You can save it as a template. There are a couple of different templates in here. Only one is appearing now. And that's how that works.